So I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so glad. This is what I want you to do. I should have done this before you sat down. I'm going to get y'all to exercise today. So I need y'all to stand back up, all right? I need y'all to stand back up. Hey, 4 a.m., where y'all at? They know the story to that. Don't worry about all that. So I want y'all to stand up, and I want y'all to do a few things for me, okay? It may get a little emotional, but we need that, right? We're here for you guys, all right? So what I want you to do right now is I want you to turn to the person next to you. I want you to give them a hug. And I want you to remember the same person that you gave that hug to. I want you to look them in the eye right now. I want you to look them in the eye. I'm serious about this. I want you to look them in the eye, and I'm going to give you some instructions. But what I want you to do is when I give you the instructions, you're going to repeat after me, but I want you to say it from your heart, all right? I want you to say it from your heart. I want it to mean something to you. So I want you to look that person in the eye and tell that person that I love you. After you tell them that you love them, I want you to look them in the eye and tell them that I'm proud of you. I'm not done yet. I want you to look at that same person and tell them I support you. I'm going to give you one last direction, and then we're going to have you sit down, all right? I want you to look at that person with everything in your heart, and I want you to tell them that you're the greatest woman on planet Earth. Now, if you're a man, too bad. I'm sorry. Give them a high five and go ahead and take a seat. I had to get y'all active. I want to get y'all active. I don't want you sitting down and getting bored. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Some of you guys may not know me. I'm probably not as famous as Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, and the rest of them. One day I will be. But in reality, it's not about that, all right? It's not about that. But I want to tell a little bit about myself. I was raised in a broken home. Parents were divorced. My dad didn't know his dad well. My mom didn't know her dad. My grandmother had my mom when she was 12 years old. When I was 8 years old, I got arrested for smoking marijuana in a vacant house. And believe it or not, when I was 8 years old is when I stopped smoking marijuana. And after that, I go to high school. I graduated from a inner city school. Anybody in here from Fort Worth? Oh, we got some Fort Worth people in here. I graduated from Dunbar High School, Fort Worth, Texas, inner city school, a school that gave me a plethora of opportunities, a school that gave me a lot of diversity, a school that had its challenges. When I was in school, people would pull guns on each other in the parking lot. They would sell drugs in the hallway, shoot dice in the bathroom. The books and the desks looked like they were there when my mom went to that school. So it has challenges, but I fought hard, I worked hard, and I became an All-American. And then I went on to college, I persevered, and I learned a lot of things when I went to college. I learned how to be more open and accepting. When I was in high school, I was in an all-black community. A community that was not diverse at all, and I had these preconceived notions about white people. I did. But when I got to college, it was revealed to me that we're all the same. And there's a lot of love that goes on in this world that sometimes we may not be able to see because we're confined in our own little space. So I went to college. I was kind of rough. Some of y'all would never believe this. I used to have gold teeth in my mouth. God is my witness. I sagged my pants. I used to curse. Every word out of my mouth was a curse word. I said the N word every third word. And one thing that I did is that it helped me to change as I found God. In 2008, I went to church, my very small church, probably 65 people. A bunch of power in that church, though. It was a bunch of power. So I got saved, and it revolutionized my life in another way, to where I would no longer look at people by the color of their skin or whatever disposition they had. I looked at everybody as being God's children, because that's exactly what we are. We're God's children. And then I went on after that. I tried out for the NFL. I didn't have the career I wanted, but I pushed through it. And one thing my dad told me is he said, I don't care what you do. You on scholarship, you better get your degree. So I got my degree. And then after I got my degree, I had to make a tough decision. Football wasn't working out for me, although that was my dream. Many nights I cried when football did not work out. But I persevered. A year of training, football still didn't produce results for me. And I joined the law enforcement. And I'll tell you guys this, I didn't like police growing up. I didn't know any better. I didn't like police. I didn't think much of them, but I needed a job. I was in a desperate position. I applied for everything in the city of Tucson, and they called me back. I'll tell you a funny story, how they called me back. So I was with my, I have a young son, my son's mom. At the time we were together, and we got into an argument or whatever over the phone, and we're talking. I had already applied for the police department. So we're talking on the phone, we're arguing or whatever, you know how people do. And so the next morning I wake up and I get a phone call, and it's like, it's the Tucson Police Department. And I'm like, she called the police on me? She's trying to ruin my career. But it wasn't. They said, Mr. Tatum, you applied for the police department. Do you remember that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, all right. But in all seriousness, one thing that struck me was that for the first time in my life, I saw a hero. Officer Sean Payne. I did a ride along with Officer Sean Payne. And I saw that man go from changing a flat tire, an elderly lady changing a flat tire, to going what we call code 3, that's lights and sirens. We were going about 75 miles per hour through residential streets. We almost died about 3 times. And we went to the house, and in all seriousness, went to the house and kicked in the door. It was a kid that was attempting to commit suicide. He was actively cutting his wrist in the back of the room. I saw Sean Payne with courage, with heart. I saw him go into that room, and I saw him save that kid. And I will never forget this. I'll never forget this. When we got back in the car, so believe it or not, he was asking me about my family and stuff before this call. When we got back in the car, he resumed to ask me about my family. And I swear my heart was beating like this. And he's like, hey, what do you say about your dad? And I'm like, what dad? I have no idea what you're talking about. And from that point on, I saw a hero. And I said, I have to do that job. So I became a police officer. I worked hard, did my thing. I did a SWAT team. Y'all heard all that stuff. That was fun, by the way, man, jumping out on people and doing all that. It was cool. It was cool. So then after that, I made viral videos and so on and so forth. But one thing I want to tell you guys about, one thing I want to leave with you, is I want you guys to remember to maintain who you are. I said this earlier in my speech, I guess earlier in the week, but it's invaluable to never detract from who God made you to be. It doesn't matter. You may not look the way you want to look. You may not have the finances that you want. You may not be raised by the family that you wanted. You may not have the boyfriend you wanted or the girlfriend. But do not let that detract you, and do not let that sidetrack you from understanding that God has created everybody in here as an individual. And you should love yourself, and you should be committed to yourself. You can give yourself a round of applause. And that has literally been who I've been. The song that I came out to is the way I will always be. And I'm always honest. I always keep it real. And that's something that I think that you guys should continue to do. I don't want to talk to you too long, and y'all have heard so many things this week, but I just want to leave you with that, okay? Have courage. Be strong. You guys are some of the most powerful women in the world. I want you to understand that. You guys are our future. You guys are everything younger women want to be. You have to believe that, internalize that. You can be anything you want to be. All you got to do is put in the effort. All you got to do is believe in God, never give up, believe in yourself, believe in one another, and you will make it happen. So in the spirit of talking and having all these things, I want to open it up for questions, because I want to communicate with you guys more than me sitting up here lecturing and talking. So I want to spend the last part of my time answering questions. So if you have questions, there was one person that I met during the week, and I promised them, I made a promise that I would give them, or she's right here. Go ahead, stand up. You have the first question. Don't make them too hard, all right?
I'm sorry.
It's the end of the week.
I guess my question is that as we have gotten older, they have tried to rip God out of our lives on college campuses and in schools. And I'm wondering, what can we do as students still in school and still on campuses to work to bring him back? I know it's very difficult, but like, what do you think, what steps can we start taking to get him back in our lives on campus?
Good question, good question. Well, I think a fundamental principle that I stand by when it comes to God and it comes to faith is that a lot of your faith and a lot of your passion for God and connection is something that's independent to you. It's something that you do at home. It's not something that you typically have that you need to rely on other people to, I guess, exemplify in your life. So the basis of religion, the basis of your faith should be exemplified every single day of your life. You should pray, you should read your Bible. You should have that as a context in your life all day long, all week long. Now, there is a problem when you're going to school because you go to school a large amount of your life. But I think that you guys should continue to fight the good fight. You continue to go to your principal, continue to talk to them about it. Don't let go of your mission to make that happen. I'm not really sure exactly how you can get past some of the administrative rules and stuff like that. But what I can say is that if you have a goal and a mission in mind to make that happen, then continue to fight for it. Continue to talk to the principal, continue to push your issues, and if they give you an inch, take a mile. Don't forget to pray in school. They let you do it, pray. If you're at a sporting event and you're doing something like that, give God some grace, give God a little bit of respect. But also, it doesn't detract you guys from praying to yourself. You can sit in school and they can run their mouth and talk about all this other stuff. That don't mean you can't understand and acknowledge God in your heart the whole time. I talk to God all day long. So I talked to God before I came out here. Nobody may not know, but I talk to God, internally, and I think that those things will help you in the face of not being able to have that expressed in school. Good question. Go ahead. I don't know who's next, but
over here to your right.
Right there.
Hi, thank you so much for coming out here today. I wanted to give you some context around my question. So your story really relates to me. My dad grew up in the inner cities of New York and made the decision to go into law enforcement and actually just retired from 30 years in law enforcement. I personally believe my father is the most incredible officer in the world. He has always instilled justice, morality in our entire family. But I am often told that I am going against my race. I'm Hispanic, for backing the blue. I'm often told that law enforcement targets minorities and that I shouldn't be proud of my police officer father, despite everything he's done. So I wanted to ask you how, as a minority law enforcement officer, you've been able to stay strong against a community that's often against you, and what advice you can give to women like me and even my dad to remind us that we're still fighting for the right fight.
All right, good question. Give her a round of applause. I don't know, all the context around what I do and my passions surround God. I understand my purpose. And I want to, it's just, this question or this answer can be given to all of you guys. You gotta be grounded in who you are, right? I don't care if everybody in the world say that the earth is flat. Be the round earth person, all right? Be the person that no matter what anybody say, you stand strong. You know the truth. You know your dad is a hero. Everybody that he served knows he's a hero, and you got to stand strong in that, all right? And I'll say this from a personal level, and I want to extend it to you guys. Like, I do not give a care about what people say about me. Listen, people are going to hate on you no matter what you do. Jesus Christ, they hate him. They tried to kill him. So imagine what they'll do to you. People are going to hate on you. People are going to be jealous of you. But you can look around at every woman in here, like I said earlier, they support you. So what does it matter what they feel, right? there's a little bit of emotional feeling when it comes to people in your community who feel like that you're a sellout. They call me a coon, a sellout, a Uncle Tom. They told me I hate black people. I don't understand where they get this rhetoric from. But at the end of the day, you know that God sees you, and you know that God is supporting you, and you know that you're doing God's mission. So no matter what the fools say, you stand strong. And this is one thing I want you to understand as well. Don't get too caught up in being upset with them, because you have to do this. This is a concept that I learned, and I'll try to be quick because I want to ask more questions. This is a concept that I learned is that you have to learn how to separate the person from the action. You have to learn how to separate that, because if people would have attached the actions that I bestowed, you know, sagging my pants. I got Young Savage tattooed on my stomach. I forgot to mention that. It's never coming off. You know, so if people would have attached that to me and labeled me and made that who I was, they'll never love me today. I would never be here today. So understand that when these people are talking to you or saying things about you or they're disagreeing with you, they're doing it from a hurt place. But you love the person, but you dislike the action. So just y'all remember that when you come into situations like this, young lady. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so actually, my brother's a huge fan of you, and he told me if I didn't ask you a question, he was going to disown me. So my brother's kind of in the same position you were. He's a college football player. Okay. He goes to Syracuse, which is a very liberal school. So he kind of wants to do what you do now, like go around and speak to youth and encourage them. So he just wants to know like what advice you can give him, especially since he is afraid to like speak up for what he believes in now because he doesn't want his scholarship being pulled in case like something were to happen. So just any advice?
Okay, yeah, I got it. Good question. So I think that you have to take chances. At some point in your life, you have to take a chance. You know, you have to be willing to lose it all. When I started making videos, I said, think about this. I'm an African American in the United States of America. 99% of hate Donald Trump, all right? So when I went to his rally, I was an independent man. I said, you know what, I think for myself. I'm gonna go and check it out for myself. If this man a bad man, I'm gonna be able to tell myself. But I fell in love with him, so I think he's the greatest president. But what he has to understand is that he has to be willing to take a risk, right? He has to be willing to lose it all for what he believes. And one thing that helps me is to be authentic. No matter what, I'm authentic. I'm always gonna be myself. I'm always gonna keep it real. And so when I did that on the very first video I made, it's not saying that everybody, you know, you're authentic in the video, it's gonna go viral. But because of, you know, coupled with God's plan for me, plus authenticity and taking a chance and a risk, I made that video out of my heart and it resonated with other people. So if he's thinking about getting into that, you know, tell him to say, you know, he got to set his priorities. Is Syracuse more important than God's mission for him to reach other people? And I tell you this is another concept that I learned. I look at God like a mirror, you know, like you're looking in the mirror, right? So just say you stand here, you stand there, you appear to be really far in the mirror. As you take a step forward, God takes a step forward to you. So if your brother is committed to it and he thinks God has that for his mission, as he takes steps forward, God will open up doors for him. And then it's going to be easier and easier, and God will connect that, and then he can do what his passion, you know, the passion in his heart is. So I hope that answers your question.
Hi, my name is Shayna, and I am from California, where I'm part of a program called Teen Court, which helps first-time juvenile offenders, delinquents, get back on track, not have a criminal record.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm a juror, and so what we do is we listen to their story. Sometimes it's possession of marijuana, sometimes they have a weapon on school grounds. They're just like in a bad place in life, or and we give them like punishments, like community service, or like a research paper on the effects of marijuana on teens, or just help them get back on track. And so I was wondering if there was like something specific maybe that helped you get back on track when you were younger that we could help these teens with.
Okay. Good question. So I feel like that I can't say it was all me or whatever. I think that obviously God was number one. God helped me and put people in my life. But I felt like people who loved me, you know, they say, I forget the saying, I'm gonna butcher it right now, but you have to feel like the people who are giving you advice, the people who are helping you, that they actually love you, right? It's easy to check off a box and say, okay, I did this, you know, you're gonna go here. But it's like if they feel that you love them, they're gonna react a lot better. So in my life, the reason that I think I changed and I was more open is because people in my life who gave me encouragement and gave me wisdom, I knew that they actually loved me. And they didn't always tell me what I wanted to hear, right? I mean, they told me a lot of stuff hurt my feelings. But I knew that they loved me and it helped me. So when you approach anybody as far as trying to help them or encourage them to do better, you start with love. You don't necessarily have to talk about Jesus. You don't have to say the name of Jesus all the time, but you can express, you know, godly mannerisms. You can express the conservative ideas to them within love, and I think it'll help them change. I needed that along the way, and over a duration of time, people didn't give up on me. And then I actually changed. So I think that'll be good advice for you guys moving forward. Thank you.
This will be the last question.
Okay, so I'm going to school right now, getting my master's in practical theology. So I'm going to seminary school right now. And my main reason for wanting to do that is to kind of help young people like you or even older people just kind of realize that there is a way back into, you know, God's kingdom and everything.
Yes, yeah.
So I was just wondering what it was for you that really triggered you to start going to church and to really open yourself up to God. Like, what was it that, I mean, I don't know if there was like a moment that just kind of, it hit you or what happened there?
Well, I can say that, you know, like most people, you know, when you hit rock bottom, because I went to college, I was All-American, I was the man. You know, I came out of Texas, I had scholarships to every university, and when I got to college and I wasn't playing, it was devastating to me. That my dreams just blew up in my face. I had nowhere to go. I was at rock bottom emotionally. And the funny thing is normally when that happens, and it's not a bad thing, you know, when you hit rock bottom, you start to really feel like there has to be something else. You know, there has to be something else out here. That my life is not working out. I don't have the power to do it myself. And to be honest, when I went to church, it was because I kind of want to figure out, is God real or not? You know, I need to know, because I'm getting ready to make some transitions in my life, and I need to know, is God real? So I went to church, and the beauty behind going to church is that they embraced me. They didn't ridicule me. They didn't come at me when I had my gold teeth and my earrings, and I kind of came into church like this. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't look at me and say, "Oh man, he a thug or something." They treated me with love and compassion. They hugged me. That's why I had y'all hug. They hugged me, and they told me they loved me, and then they opened me up to Christ. They preached the gospel in an authentic way, and it actually changed my life over time. So if you're thinking about going into ministry and doing things like that, the way that you capture people is through love. And you also have to be genuine. And you don't always have to Bible beat people. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hell, you're going to hell, you're going to hell. But what you do is you give them good information over time. You love on them. You see the future for them. You speak life into them. You encourage them. You do all of those things with no expectation, right? Because at the end of the day, God is the one that's going to change you, not everybody else. But with no expectation, just giving them some messaging, giving them the truth, living it. If you live it, people will see it. You don't need to talk about it. They'll see what it is. And if you do those things, I think it'll benefit greatly. All right, so I think that was the last question. I really, really want to say this before I end. Y'all got to give me some more time, all right? I really want to say this before I end, man. I am so proud of every single woman in here, man. You guys, I've talked to a lot of you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. I talk to a lot of you guys in the hallways. I try to speak to you, 4 a.m. We were talking politics till 4 o'clock in the morning. Very intelligent young women. So I'm so proud of you guys because you guys are showing a light. I mean, you guys have encouraged me. I get on the elevator, I'm going down, doing my thing, and then y'all lighting up like a light bulb. Every one of y'all are like a light bulb. You know, you talk to them, and they're like, yeah, I'm having a great time. This is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Women are so, y'all just empowering me. This ain't even for me. This for y'all. But I'm proud of you guys. Y'all have stuck together. Y'all have bonded. I haven't heard of a lot of drama between y'all. And it's honestly, it's hard to get all y'all in a room, y'all not be fighting each other. But y'all have done so well, been so powerful. Y'all, and I'm glad that y'all embraced what I did at the beginning because that's what you have to do before you leave here. You have to love one another, appreciate one another, support one another. Don't just do it here. Don't just let it end here. Don't let your motivation stop here, because you guys are living in a utopia kind of here. You got a whole bunch of like-minded people around you. When you go out into the world, it's going to get ugly again. But you got to stick together. Get each other's numbers. Communicate. Do things on a weekly basis. I mean, this is 2018. Y'all can Skype each other and do conference calls. Maintain that connection, and you guys are going to build. And then next year, it's going to be double this. But I just want to leave you guys with that. Be encouraged. You guys are so impactful, so powerful. I love each and every one of y'all, and I want y'all to enjoy the rest of this time and go home and be a more powerful woman than you were before you came. Thank you, guys.
That's how I'll always be.